That sounds very interesting.
I know, right? Hey man, good morning, man. How's everybody doing on Monday morning? It is your boy Martez Raphael Kirkland, and over here James Dale Merch, and welcome to Real Talk with MRK Coffee in the morning. I hope you guys got your coffee. I hope you guys are okay. Maybe you're at work, at your office, at your desk, and you're getting ready for work and everything. Hey, tune in, hey, stay engaged, hey, to the show today, this morning and everything. We were just talking about something that was funny and everything. So you see us with tears in our eyes, man. It was something very funny that we was crying about we were talking about. But hey, I'm excited for this week, and I hope this week is going to be a great week for each and every one of you guys. Myself, man, we're going to definitely get it started. So we already know how it goes. The morning inspiration, all right? Morning inspiration, all right? This right here, this is Black History Month. All right, each show, what we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight, our Black history. We're gonna try to talk about Black history. So the morning inspiration goes, this quote is by Nelson Mandela. All right, if you are not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. That's by Nelson Mandela and everything. What that means to me is, guess what? Open up your mind, receive information, go out there and search for information, and become more knowledgeable than you were the day when you went to sleep. I believe knowledge is power. If you constrict yourself and limit yourself to knowledge, guess what? You don't have the power to be able to make moves that you necessarily need to be alive and help others. All right. So remember, go out there and get yourself educated. It don't have to be in the rims of traditional education in the form setting of in a classroom, because Abraham Lincoln, guess what? If y'all know that he self-educated himself and propelled himself to become the president of the United States. So I believe in self-education, being resourceful, and just going out there and don't always believe what everybody tell you. All right, we call the thing in the army trust but verify. Verify the information. That way you can educate yourself even more. The more things you know, the more things that you have to your toolkit. I believe that it'll tell you on a different platform, it takes you to a different path. What you think, James?
Yeah, I mean, matter of fact, I mean, one of the things that I was thinking about was, you got people that are in prison who self-educate themselves and sometimes get all this lawyer knowledge or legal knowledge, and then get themselves out of positions in jail just because they were determined to be free. And my thought is, so that should be motivation in and of itself, because there are those of us who are completely free and have access to volumes of knowledge. So never stop growing. I think the only thing I can only add to that is that, don't get stagnant just because you think you're a certain age. Like, you can't learn nothing new.
Absolutely.
Because, you can, it's a little bit out of the scope of what we're talking about education and achieving goals. We always mention Samuel L. Jackson. He didn't even start training and acting until 43 years old. 43, bro. So I think that's something to think about. Like,
hey, so it's hope. So if you have aspirations and goals of being an actor, or you did, and you so happen to did not get to pursue it,
whatever it is,
it is never too late. All right, it's never too late. It's never too late to learn new things. Just like my man James said, hey, don't get so stuck in your ways. Evolve. You know what I'm saying? Because life in the world that we live in, it changes each and every day. Like technology. As a new iPhone comes out, you already know they're working on the iPhone 16. They're probably working on the iPhone 17, which is crazy, right? With computer systems and any type of technology-based things, right? They're always looking to improve it. All right, so as they come out, guess what? You have to learn something new. You got to learn the technology new. You got to learn how to use that information or that product that they put out, you know what I'm saying, all over again. So don't lock yourself up in a box. Be open-minded to what? Be able to venture off and learn more things, new things, and that the society brings and everything. So it'll put you in a great place. It'll make you very mindful of being able to teach others and everything. So more than inspiration goes to Nelson Mandela. Hey, look it up. Hey, Nelson Mandela. Let me stop. Let me move on to the next segment, man. So. Hey, we're going to go to the morning shout-outs. Today's shout-out goes to, since it's Black History Month, to all the Black ancestors that came before us. All right? That means your family members, all the Black leaders that was had a big influence on the Black culture, the civil rights movement, and any type of thing that affected the Black culture and our Black people positivity, all right? Positiveness, all right? So we shout out to each and every one of those that came before us and the road that they set, for us, because they had to travel some hard roads. They had to go down some hard roads. They had to go through a lot of hard adversities. You know what I'm saying? They had, they went through a lot of things. We already know about slavery. We already understand about the civil rights. Maybe not understand, but we know that happened. I look at my grandparents, man. Like my grandfather, he passed on my dad's side, and then both my grandmothers on my mom and dad's side, what they had to go through, and the stories that they told me as far as when they was coming up, man. My grandfather, he was originally from Alabama. This is on my father's side. He's really from Alabama, and I remember stories of him telling us about him picking cotton. He was still picking cotton, which it was in the sharecropping age, right? Remember, we came out of the slavery, we got emancipated and all that good stuff, and then we went into the 1940s era that was doing the sharecropping. Black people didn't have a lot of education still. They're still suffering from slavery and everything. He was a young Black boy from the state of Alabama, and he did sharecropping, picking that cotton out in that hot sun. And he was telling me, man, he would get paid like 12, 13 cents for like a little bag or a barrel. It was crazy. He would spend hours and hours out there and everything. So I can remember stories like that. I remember stories of my grandmother holding down, working 3 jobs, basically jobs of being a maid, an in-house maid, I'm working at a cleaners, you know what I'm saying, in those hot steam shop cleaners and stuff. So, and the pay wasn't very great. So I believe we need to pay homage and respect to our ancestors because of what we have today. What about you, man?
No, I mean it's one of those things where you can't. I don't think we really. I would say even afford to forget because a lot of the luxuries that we have today is because of people that went through what they went through. So I think it's always something to pay tribute and to remember because I think it'll help us better appreciate what we have now, versus not really taking the time to take it in and think about how we even got here because it wasn't always like this for people of color.
Yeah, well, I think everybody, I'm not just going to pick out one certain type of people, young people, we all take, not take advantage, but we take for granted what they went through and the things that they endured because of a lot of times, I guess, because we have so much available to us.
We do.
So we are blinded by that, and things was not the way they are now. Things wasn't so easily, if you talk about just equal rights, the civil rights movement, desegregation, we take all that for granted. I can't imagine living in that time, living in those worlds,
right?
During that time, I don't even know based off of what's inside of me and who I am. I don't know if I would have made it through.
Right,
it might have been lynched. Like I'm gonna be honest, but that had to be, that had to be hard to go through. Going to school, stepping from, the white children, the white kids, not being able to drink out of a certain water faucet. And I guarantee their water faucet wasn't probably so good. It wasn't as clean.
No.
Going to the back to get your food from a restaurant, even though they still serve blacks, but you have to go to the back. You wasn't special or privileged enough, or they didn't feel like you were worthy enough to come to the front and be served.
I was gonna say, man, by the United States law, I don't know how many of y'all have seen this, but a black man or woman was not even considered fully human at a certain point by law.
Crazy.
That was an actual law in this nation. So
to be honest, the Constitution, to this, because it hasn't changed, and I believe what amendment was that? The 13th Amendment.
Yeah.
If you really read it closely and listen to what it's saying and really take into what it's saying, it's basically saying that, that's what first of all, if you get arrested, your freedoms are taken, and therefore you're not considered, quote unquote, a citizen of the United States. That is still within the Constitution. I'm just trying to go along to what you were saying.
No, you're fine. I think it just adds to us appreciating what we really have today. And that's what these milestones are here for. Because just to kind of add to it, I don't feel like us as a people fully embrace what we do have. I think we're still in a fight mode. And so we don't really appreciate the freedoms fully.
The victim, and we're going to talk about this later on.
And that's I know that opens into another topic.
The victim mentality.
But I don't think we really appreciate. Yeah, we don't appreciate what we really do have as a people, and going and trying to move forward. Like, we have a lot of freedom that our ancestors did not have. So again, paying that tribute, I think it would, if we did it correctly, would help us to move forward and heal versus,
it's almost like this. Just think of this in anything that we do, and a lot of times being pessimistic and negative does not thrive results.
It doesn't resolve anything.
You can't move forward if you're thinking about the past, meaning you never forget the past, which we're doing. We have
to process the past.
Right. But if you if you keep thinking about the past and anything that we do, like in a relationship, you're not going to be able to move. You're stagnant.
Wow.
You're stagnant.
Something to think about.
I'm just saying. So we do have to appreciate what we have, and also we continue to fight on to move forward to be better and everything. But we have to understand and respect and pay homage to those that have fought for what we have now.
We have to. We have to process that correctly. Tribute to the ancestors. Let's remember what they did, but remember rightly.
Absolutely, man. Those are the shout outs for the day. All right, to all the black ancestors, man. Coffee in the morning, y'all.
Coffee in the morning.
Hey, let's keep it moving, man. Let's keep it moving. All right, I got this segment. Hey, we do this once a week. All right, and it's just strictly about relationships. All right, you already know relationships, men, women, couples, right? I got a question, or maybe a statement. Men should not spend a lot of money on women for the first date. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I know how I feel about it. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I know how I feel about it. And I hope I don't ruffle no feathers or by the statement that I said. I'm gonna say it again. I do not believe men should not spend a lot of money on a woman for a first date. And okay, let's go this, since we are in a time of equality and equalness, the same as a woman. I don't think anybody should go out there and break their bank on a first date. Because what is a first date, right? You may have some interactions, you may have known of the person, right? And then you finally get enough, courage to talk to him and ask him out to go out and, indulge in, conversation and more company with that person. But you're getting to know that individual, right? That's what dating is all about, right? It's one of the part of the thing, especially in the initial forms of it, right? For women, I'm gonna tell you this. You hear it. I can't believe he took me here. Or he better not take me to this Applebee's. Back in the, I can't remember. It was the thing.
We all was there at one point. It was the bomb.
Yeah. I can't believe he took. I hear it all the time. I can't believe he took me to Applebee's. Why can't you believe it? Well, he should take you to some 5-star restaurant where he spends, hundreds of dollars on you in the first date, in the first, I guess, intimate setting that you guys are not even committed to one another, exclusive to one another. You're not his fiance, you're not his wife. So why should a man on a first date take you somewhere where it's very expensive? Why? When you're only just trying to get to know each other to see.
What did they say?
Somebody said, I agree. Nigga said, I agree.
Okay, what else we got? So far, so okay. Well, we gotta agree. We want to agree.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt.
He said he shouldn't. Okay.
All right.
More people. He shouldn't. I think TikTok got me in jail too. But anyway,
whoa.
It's the special.
Like a cat.
Yeah, they try to suppress.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. So, as I was saying, that was in my thought that I don't believe that you should. Why can't we just, hey, you know what? You seem interesting. I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. And hey, let's go out. Hey, let's just meet up for some coffee. Starbucks or something. Let's go to a nice little park and walk and get to know each other. See, you're not worrying about how much money I'm spending on you for this date.
There you go.
You're not worrying on the status and statistical, financial part of it. Because at the end of the day, if we've known each other, you already know I'm probably told, yeah, this is what I do. Or, hey, this is the type of job I have. So why are you guys so worried about how much a man spends on you on the first date when you ain't even put into the starting up of the relationship? I'm just saying, like, am I wrong?
I would say you're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. Okay. But I'm just saying.
Obviously.
I'm just saying. But there's a lot of women out there. They be like, you better not take me here. he better take me or somewhere like of this nature and everything. Or I've heard, I want no McDonald's, I don't want no Burger King.
I mean, so I'll say this.
Wait, man, speak on it.
While I can understand, at least just on that level, I can understand a woman not wanting to go to a McDonald's or a Burger King. All right, we'll put that there. And I know you were just throwing that as an example. Like, I can understand that. But I will say, I look at first dates and stuff like that. I compare it to the same way I do, well, marriage. Why do I say that? Let's look at this as a baseline. How many times do we see these multi-million-dollar marriages? People spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a marriage, right? And then 6 months later, what happens?
What are they doing? It's divorce.
It's divorce season. Well, why is that? Well, it's an easy answer. It's because it was all based on superficial things anyway, like our first date was at Ruth Chris. Looking for it, it's all materialistic. And, you know, the superficial mind automatically is going to say, well, you know, those things means that he values me. No, he values you if he just can be in your presence and wants to just spend time with you. It doesn't matter where, and it doesn't matter how. He just likes being around you. And that's actually vice versa. A woman just wants to be around a man when they are connecting, when they are truly...
Their thoughts are not just on what is it that he can do for me or where.
Right. When you actually understand, or better yet, when you actually encounter love, we talking about actual genuine love, an actual real meeting of the soul and mind that you have with another person. You're almost like on a high. You are not even thinking about that type of stuff. You just like, I could be talking with this person all night, conversations that are lasting on the phone for hours, laughs. That's the type of things that are being valued at that point. And then it's like, if the Ruth Chris or, you know, or whatever steakhouse comes later, then it just does, because it's just another way of me saying, this is how much I actually value what we have together. But it usually don't start that way. Like, I've been married 20 years, and I can tell you right now, my first date was, we went to a track.
Like a racetrack?
No, I'm sorry. When I say track, a walking track, like a walking trail. Okay. And me and my wife, and we just walked and we just talked. That was like our first, like, unofficial, but it was still a date. Date, right? We just wanted to hang out with each other.
Y'all wanted to get to know each other, right?
Yeah, I just enjoy being around.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that the purpose of dating, right?
Yeah.
You meet someone, you see someone, and you could know them for a while, but you never have got that close, right? So hey, let me take you out, or hey, let's meet up somewhere and everything. It could be a date. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I think I've had some of my best dates where money was not like involved like that. Mm-hmm. Like some of my best dates, you know, I've been married a few times here. Don't judge. But like I can say this, even through all of my marriage life, in the beginning, because that's how it starts. It starts good in the beginning, right? I can look back on it and say that we had a good time. That's why we got married. But in dating him, it was with a purpose, right? And I eventually married him. So like my first wife, our dating was a walk. We about the same thing. We was walking and we was sharing each other's writings because we wrote poetry, both of us. So that was our connection. You know, she wrote poetry, I wrote poetry, and I thought I love a woman that connects to the deeper side. And so she would recite hers, or I would read hers, and I would write. I remember before that day, I was writing about it. And I wrote a couple of poetry writers and stuff, and I read it to her, recited it to her, and then we both was, we was basking in the excitement of our writings. and everything, and everything. So that's how we connected. It wasn't no money involved or anything. And then we took it on from there. Now I was young, when I met her. I just turned 19, so of course I didn't have a lot of money. I was in school. This is before I officially joined the army. I didn't have a lot of money. I just turned 19 right before I went to sign to go to the army. So I literally probably had a couple $100 in my bank account, right? So, and the fact that she was interested in me in that way, and she was okay with me not spending the money, that kind of connected me to her too. She was simple. She sees me for who I am and not for what I can do for her. Same to my second wife, we was both in Egypt. She was in the army, and we spent a lot of time together. And it was never no situation about money. I was DJing at the club on post. It was called Club USA. And then, if you don't know, if you've been in the army, I was stationed in the Sinai Peninsula, Camp Sinai in North Camp, in South Carolina, North Camp. And they had a club, and then we worked with like 15 other nations, right? And every little nation had their own little like club area. We had the Fijians, the Colombians, the French, the England, all that, and everything. So, US soldiers, we had a club called Club USA, and I eventually
I don't know that.
Yeah, hold on. Oh,
having
I know what
some
it is.
technical issues.
Hold on. Instagram.
That is, that might be. Maybe we just might be on a delay on this.
It might be.
Oh yeah, that's old. I said that like 5 seconds ago.
And I got two.
Sorry, viewers.
No, right quick.
But in the meantime, I wish I could see, what are some of the thoughts? What we've got, what you said thus far. What are some of the things that y'all thinking? Let's see. I'm gonna come over there real quick.
Oh, they are a lot of women who would enjoy these types of interaction.
I agree with you. Whose name was that?
That is Nikki 88.
Nikki 88. I agree. But I will say though, I find that too, that there are a lot of that I've heard that before. Like I got a sister and she said the same thing, but it seems like not all women now, but it does seem to come into play. The switch kicks in at some point, and it's like while women want that romantic experience encounter just as much as men do, switches on when it comes to that department. Not in all, but in a lot of other cases, I've seen this movie. I want that experience, but it's still like, well, he can. It's like, so what happened? I'm just that's just a question. I don't know. Like, what happened to where like that makes me stop? No. I don't know. No, that was it. I mean, it was just a question. I was like, well, what happens? What switch kicks on for some women, not all, but for some women that they do have this connection with this guy, this, that, and the other. Are there other factors that maybe you're thinking about? I don't know. Like, and if it's legit, it's legit. I'm just asking.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And I guess you got to connect and find those right connection, those type of interactions.
I guess so. I think there's some. I'll say this because this is just something that reminded me of a I went on many moons before I got married. Obviously, I had met a girl and we didn't have the connection, you know, and now I learned the underlying factors later, but what ended up happening, our birthdays were close to the same time. Like I was on one day, she was born like 3 days that 3 days before me, and so we went on our first date like yeah, I mean, I guess when you look at it now, uh, that's not really like super fancy no more. But I guess it was like, I mean, even back then it was kind of in the middle. But here's what happened. So I want to know about this switch. So the switch kicked in. So we're there, we're having a good time, just talking, laughing. And then I noticed about 20 minutes into us having our appetizer and drinks that no one had excuse me, about 20 minutes into just having soda and nothing else. The waiter, oh, okay, the waiter never came back to us. And I was like, wow. So then I got someone's attention, and then finally I said, I'd like to see the manager. And so the manager comes, very apologetic. And the manager says, hey, look, we don't know what happened. I'm so sorry, sir. Here's what I'll do. Y'all's meal is on the house tonight. Hey, our fault. I was like, here's what happened. Now, y'all and ladies, tell me what you think. What would you have done once if you were in the same scenario and the man that you had connected with handled that situation like that, and now the meal was free? Waiting for you while I wait on the responses. Here's what happened. Here's what happened in my experience. This switch I keep talking about came on. The girl that I was dating, she stops the man, the manager of the restaurant, after he said it quickly and said, "Oh no. Hey, listen, thank you, sir, for giving us this free meal, but he's right. The switch. And it was like, in my mind, I was like,
they were giving you a free meal.
They were giving Compton a whole meal for free because I caught it. It was too late. And she said, no, don't worry about it, sir. He's going to pay for it. And I was like, now I'm going to tell you, inside, I was like, oh, this is over. Like, you won't be seeing me again. But, I was like, what was that about? And then yeah, I had to, because he was like, "Are you sure?" I was just like, at first I was like, I looked at her eyes and she was like, she made sure. And when I saw her body language, it basically let me know that somehow this experience was devalued if I didn't pay for it.
I would have made my mind. I knew that I wasn't still get. I paid.
I didn't want, because at that point I know myself how I was then, and it would have got real bad. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and pay this meal, take her home, and get the heck out of here. So, ladies, I think. Go ahead.
Something was wrong with her. Nikki said, Chocolate A Kissy said, if they messed up, then.
Right. That's what I was thinking. That's what, and I
both got free.
Right. And even back then, when I ran this across, other females, they were like, she was like, that could have been more money. We could have done something else. Right. But it was just like, right. And so anyway, it was just like, so I guess that's the next question.
Trouble.
It was sign of trouble, and that's why we've been talking again. But it was like at the same time. So again, ladies, like, what is I think sometimes maybe it seems like in some situations that somehow the value of could be wrong, but it seems like that seems to be the thing. Like somehow the value of the relationship goes down if it's not reciprocated through finances. And so, but why does that switch kick in?
The only thing I can think about it and try to get into it. I guess I don't really want to be inside a woman's head. Is that I don't want to know what goes on. You know what I'm saying? But I think the only reason it shows that okay, if he can pay for this meal and he can show that he can be able to do things financially, I guess it makes a woman feel more secure with you. You see what I'm saying? I got it, but we talking about first date here. I don't need to show everything.
Well, and that's where I'm going. Like we still talking about first date. That's why I'm bringing it up. Like
we ain't saying that we are now in a community. We are exclusive. You are my girlfriend and all that stuff, and we are working towards something. That's the first date.
First date. Yeah, let's bring that. Yeah, keep bringing that back.
That's it. So I'm like this. Women have to understand. I think I can say the word wrongly, but your expectations for a guy to come in and treat you already as if you are his, you are committed to him, because with the commitment comes privilege, responsibility for both parties. For both parties, like it's almost like we say, you hear it all the time, like women need to stop giving men marital privileges or marital things that they get that they only should get when they're married, and you know they should work toward. It should be a working towards today, right? Because they value you more.
Yeah, they
value you more. So if I'm giving you things that I would do for someone that we've been in a long-term relationship, committed to one another, and you're now fiance, now wife, I'm doing things that as if you were my wife, then how much, I guess, will you actually, I guess, give me, work towards that relationship? And I think it's the same thing as men.
It is.
The same thing. Women, if you do the things that you would do for a man before you get married, I'm going to be honest, you're like, what I need to go do that for? What I need to get married for? I'm just being honest. So, hey, I don't believe men should not spend a lot of money on one thing.
Not for a first thing. I don't. Again, why? Not when the baseline of what it's supposed to be is what it's supposed to be. It's based off of a mutual connection mentally, and spiritually, if you will. Mm-hmm. So that not if that's going to be the base, because I'll tell you that's why a lot of times you see like the brides, they call it, because it started like that.
As a matter of fact,
everything began like that with this high bar.
That's another topic. Weddings.
I keep hitting on it, but that's why I said it when I talked about it earlier. Because if that becomes the baseline, is this high extravagant treatment at every end, that's going to be the only thing keeping the marriage.
If you love me,
this,
you would give me this type of wedding.
And let me say something for the record, real quick.
Go ahead, man.
Ladies, we're not bashing ladies at all. But I just want to make it. But I will say it should be evident by now. The table is kind of turned. And what I mean by that is that because men for many decades did do the wrong thing, and so many things kind of was like, for women to kind of be more in a seat of equality and more of a seat of independence, the tables have now turned, and now it's like there's no balance now, and right. So you know what I mean. So now it's kind of tipsy topsy. So now men are more in a position where they're more lost than ever.
You don't know what to do.
It's like, what in the world?
You don't know what to do.
So it's kind of to answer some questions.
Yeah.
And bring
exactly. I prefer going Dutch.
Okay.
There's no feeling of anybody's owning anything. I ain't gonna lie, I like that. Because I am such a traditional man, if I asked you, I do, it's whether after that first date it goes anywhere, I understood coming into that date that I am going to, because I actually let me treat you, I like to take you out on a date. Now if you come to me like I like to do Dutch, I got it. It's no, you don't feel no pressure. If the
Right.
date doesn't go well and everything, or that man, because some men do that. Well, I pay because some men think that if they pay for a date, they should get certain things, right? To come to them. I don't believe that. If I'm already going into the date, whether it goes good or bad. If I've asked you out on a date, you try to go, whether it goes good or bad. Now, if it's something that's mutual that come along, and you was like, "Hey, let's go here." Like, it's not like a formal date, or you asking me, or I'm asking you. Then, of course, yeah, I guess hey, let's go Dutch and everything. But for the most part, I've always pretty much when I'm doing my dating experiences, I pretty much have just been
Right.
and don't feel it. Now I go home, I'm like, just wasted $50. I just, hey, it is what it is. You like that? Okay, chop kisses. Oh, Nikki said she likes that. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We beat that in the head enough. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the hot topic of the day. Hey, I got something for y'all. The hot topic of the day, man. It's like 5 different things, right? We're gonna talk about real briefly, right? The lack of family structure in Black homes. The dangerous cities have high African Americans in those populations. High abortion rates. Woo.
Wow. Yeah.
Number 4, victim minds. I told you we was going to talk about the victim minds. And the last one is African Americans make a sizable portion of prisoners. African Americans, a sizable portion of prisoners. All right. So this goes along with us, paying homage to Black History Month. Black History Month, in my mind, we want to indulge and engage and talk about all of our history, good or bad, right? Because within our conversation and within our dialogue to one another, I believe we can learn from that. We can come up with some type of, I guess, partial solutions to certain things in the circle that we live in, and the circle or the people that I can connect and reach to. And hopefully, through this dialogue and this conversation about these topics, you know what I'm saying, we can teach you something and we can teach ourselves something. All right. And then so we talk about number 1, the lack of family structure, right? In the Black community, if you go back to, of course, if you go back to when they incorporated welfare, right? When they incorporated welfare, some may agree, some may not. But in my research and my findings and my viewpoint is that when welfare was implemented, it took the Black man, it took the father out of the home because mothers were being penalized by having a man in the home. And it's in the home, it works, guess what? Does not qualify another for welfare. It did not incentivize them to have that father in the home. So it started to stimulate some mindsets of some women not to have a man in a home. I'd rather for you to be afar, living somewhere else, away from the home, away from your children, so I can go ahead and collect this welfare check, these benefits that the government is giving me from being a single mother. Now we can still have relations and still make babies because I get incentivized by having more babies, and I get to have this assisted living, this assisted home that I don't have to pay full rent. I get to have this welfare check coming to me. I get to have these food stamps coming to me because if you come into my home and my house and we try to father and parent together and live together as a family, we don't qualify for this assistance. I think, and we can go back. I'm just pinpointing one particular time. We can even go back into the slavery time because a lot of the men, the home, not that they didn't have homes, but the families, because they was being stolen. So us Black people and our Black families have been torn apart ever since we came to this land that we call America. Um, so we are still trying to come out of that. Some people don't want to recognize that, but that is the truth. Some have because they have made better choices, family, generational wealth, and just have been able to push through the barriers, the adversity, as far as being black, becoming educated, in which there's a lot of opportunity for us. But we still have to recognize that there are people in certain situations that are so we haven't that has that victim mindset and that generational curse that cannot pull them from what has been taken from us or taken from us. And they don't see past that. They don't see what somebody has done to me, instead of them saying, what can I do for myself, for my family, to get them out of this? Even though the road may be hard. So the lack of family structure, it stems from the first time we set foot on this land, by pulling our families apart through slavery. I'm like this. I believe when America honestly accepts that and confronts that instead of dodging it and hiding from it, I think we could be able to fix things and put things and implement to help our families out. It's hard that it's going to make it tough for the mother, for the children. And we got to do a better job of just having those conversations and recognizing what can we do as a people, regardless about the government and what they're not doing, but as a people to fix that. What do you think?
Man, so I'll start with saying the family structure is most vital to it. You hit on it. Like the family structure is real important, man. I mean, like a question for everybody, men and women out there on this live is how many of you, especially to any of our African American viewers, how many of you can know your lineage past your grandfathers? If that,
that's a lot.
That represents a lot of us. I can't recall. I don't have any recollection of anyone past my. I think I have on my mom's side. I remember my great grandfather, but great greats. No, we don't have any of that. So there's a place where where that's broken. We don't understand family in a lot of ways because the family is not there. Like I don't know a lot of people who know their family bloodline past grandparent. That's not. I mean, that's a real part of that part. It has a heavy part to pay, and people trying to move forward. And then of course the lack of men in the home. Statistically, it's already out there. A lot of y'all probably already know this. Is that statistically the homes? I watched a show. It was about. It was something about. It was basically about prisoners, and the prisoners. It was shown. The show was all about their release and showing how they adapted on the outside. But they had, yeah, that was the name of the show. It's called Release. It was a really good show because it showed the demographics of those guys that went in, and it was like basically somewhere around like 8 out of 10 inmates, Black American inmates that are incarcerated, came from single parent homes.
Someone said, thanks to ancestry, I do. I guess they know they.
Got you. And that's a start, right? But like, but you can't. But it's like hard to make up for that. Yeah. And sometimes the ancestry that comes in those bloodlines can help, provide. And trust me, there's a lot of work because I have a aunt that has done the same thing. We call it like Indiana Jones. She dedicated her life to finding our archives and yeah, it's a long story. But to stay on point, we're looking at all these fatherless homes, and we're looking at statistics, why they make a lot of prisoners, and it's like, what do we do about it? Because the thing is that, and we're gonna talk about that obviously, but these are the statistics that we're looking at. But the thing I think I kind of want to put out there is breaking the victim mentality. I think is going to be the most vital key.
It starts
to right. It starts right there because we've identified the problem. We've been hearing this same statistics for years now. The question is, what's going to be done about it? And I think a part of the answer is, you know, if Black America wants to be a people, then we have to finally decide to be a people. Most of what this might step on people's toes, but I'm going to be honest with you, even from celebrities on down to people in the communities and stuff like that, we like to talk a lot. We like, as Black people, we like to talk a lot. And maybe this is part of the problem. We talk too much, right? We're like, there's
like we're doing now.
We're doing it now, but you know, awareness can only go so far. I don't think we should ever stop making things aware. But then, at what point do we decide to start raising leaders?
Sometimes,
go ahead.
Our awareness is us making us aware. It's not really making us aware. It's just gossip. You know what I'm saying? Like, Black people, we tend to do that. Like, we think when we making our people, it goes back to my more inspiration. Learning and being educated. Being aware is actually going back and learning what is true to be and everything, and not just guessing what it is true to be. Right. And we just speaking of our feelings and our emotions. Sometimes they can get you caught up in the wrong, direction. So why don't we honestly find out the truth and read and educate?
No, you hit. So with my son last night, my wife and I decided we watched Higher Learning with it.
Oh my!
It was.
Y'all remember?
But that was one of the most controversial movies of 1993, right? But at the end of the movie, after if you haven't seen it, see it. But at the very end of it, it just has a thing that says "unlearned," and we have a lot to unlearn as a people, right? And so I'm saying that to say, there's just just the gossip part of it. I'm gonna throw out a figure because we got to get past emotions and all that stuff. That's what we do. Like we're passionate speakers
because of what we have been
traumatic.
We are so emotional,
right?
And it's emotion worn, yes, but we have to learn how to control our emotions. Understand that it's all about emotion. For every emotion you have, there's reaction, right? And from those emotions, there's something that has happened to us.
How do you process it? And that's
what we recognize that, right? We have to recognize that, and when we do not, we act emotionally, do things that are not in a better sake for us. And everything, and it doesn't go anywhere. We just all emotional, angry people.
Right. I'm gonna throw out somebody. Now, this person I'm about to mention is extremely controversial in the Black American community. This may even ruffle some feathers, but I'm gonna throw her name out there. And that's Candace Owens. Yeah, you thought I was gonna go. Hey, listen. Look, just bear with me for a second, people, if you will. I watched her on Black Summit in Atlanta, and
they let her on there.
They let her on there. But here's what I will tell you: as controversial as she is, she knows the stuff. Right? And I listen. I'm not here. She's not getting endorsed right now. No, she's not getting endorsed right now. She's not. But what I'm saying is, like, I got past the emotional aspect of it. Everything that she's saying is statistically correct. You can go and look at these numbers up. Everything she's telling you is from just bare bones research. And I remember T.I. almost jumped out his chair at Black Summit.
Oh my goodness.
And Big Boy from Outcast, they were legit angry at her. And then,
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
But where I'm going with that is that why are we mad at the fact, at the truth? And that's something that we have to internalize properly. Last thing I'll say, I'll give you an example. Now, I talked to a person from another nationality. I'll just leave it at this. I'll start it like this, right? And so let's, because I want us to is if we're to unify, it could help us to take note from other nationalities. And I took and this one man from this particular nationality, he said, hey, I guess he respected what I had to say or whatever. And he says to me, James, man, D, Dale, why is, he said, something we do in my country? I was like, what is it? He was like, well, a lot of us, when we get our opportunity to come to the US, we work hard, get our education, we bust our tail, right? He says, after we bust our tail and get in positions to where we make substantial amount of money, we have this thing called a lotto. And I was like, a lotto? And he's like, yeah, a lotto, right? And he said, what we do is, and it's really simple, it was real simple. Mm-hmm. Those of us that have made it, we just put it in this big pot and it's a bank account. And then we radio back to the village and we ask the elders of the community, who there do you see as hardworking, of good value, a person of character? They tell us, we say, bring them over. And then they have access to those same monies. And then they start, they build themselves up. Bingo, they have a startup kit, right? And this was like me getting a nugget, because this is like, he don't tell everybody, this is not something they publicize.
So that's why when they come over here, he's like, how did they get a business?
They come here on a mission, right?
So locked in.
Like locked in. It's like, I got the lotto, this money is for the setup. It's like, I have to succeed, right? Let me ask you, and this is a question that again, to bring more thought-provoking thoughts, because a lot of y'all out there in this chat are successful. What are we doing that's similar to that to, in turn, build up a community and then get people started and then in turn refresh that community? How does that work? Because again, I'm not saying there's not a lot of people out there. Like one person that's relevant to the conversation that I saw doing it was, I hate saying it, I don't hate, it's just because of the controversy behind him, but Nipsey Hussle, people forget, regardless of his lifestyle, guess what?
Yeah, you might not agree with his lifestyle, whatever, but understand this. You got to understand people's environment that they come in.
Right.
Everybody maybe wasn't
grown up that way.
Yeah, grew up in a great environment like you. Yeah. You are a product of what you are to be able to survive. So it's not how you started. It's how you finish. Right. So what he was doing to his community, he was giving back. Go and keep going.
No. You hit it.
Back to his community.
Yes.
He was in the community where he came from and everything. So he took his talent and the wealth that he gained from it, and what he was in the notoriety was to give back and teach. And a lot of our community, a lot of us, it's the crab in the barrel mentality. We look at each other as the competition. What he's saying is, what he was talking about, and James was talking about, they look at each other as helpmates.
Bingo.
They look at each other as being able to help each other thrive. We don't look at whether we're strangers, families, each other's families. We hate on each other and have envious if somebody is doing better than another, and then a person that is doing better than another, they don't want to reach back down to help. They want to get away. I'm telling you,
bro. I know I have friends right now. They talk a good game, but they don't even want to be around black people anymore. And like, it's like, wait a minute. Like, I understand that you can despise rap music or you can despise stuff in the ghetto.
They don't understand.
No, they came from it. That's the problem. That's the issue that I have with that. They actually came from it, and now that they came from it, they just kind of look down on people. Now it's like, where I don't understand how you process. Yeah, that's another thing is self-image, which anyway, that's actually another topic. But love ourselves, like love being who you are. Don't be ashamed of it, right? But with that being said, the crab in the bucket mentality, just to kind of stay on track, you know, we have to make a decision to start having empathy on brothers and sisters who just may not understand, even if they are ghetto as all can be. But where's the empathy? Like one night I was at a store with me and my wife. We were buying. We went to the liquor store. You know, we wanted to get some wine and whatnot. And so I bought this thing so if you can understand more craft beverages, libations. There's this thing called bitters. It's to make an old fashioned. It's a drink, and that's actually kind of more fancier whiskey. And I bought some, and the guy behind the register, that always be. Now the man who owned the liquor store was there. He was a Middle Eastern man.
I'm about to say he was probably
Middle Eastern man. Now the conversation, there's wisdom behind this because so the young man's looking at me. He's like, it just caught his attention because he had never saw anybody buy this, and he was like, "Hey, what is that?" And I was like, "Oh, these are whiskey bitters." And he's like, "What this do?" And I was like, there's a drink called an old fashioned. Now, the Middle Eastern man, I could tell he was cultured. He was educated. He was like, yes. He's like, this is very good, sir. And he was like, I was like, cool. And he was like, so what you do with this, man? And I was like, and I, and it's still
he had a hit out. He had a hit in the crowd.
Right, yeah. And he was like, he was thinking the way he was thinking, and I was just like, for a minute, I was like, this ignorant fool, right? I'm gonna be honest, transparency enough, right? But in that moment, I was like, wait a minute,
reassess.
I had to reassess it because what I started realizing is he was ignorant. He just didn't know. He's never been to a fine restaurant to have an old fashioned made for him. So I started explaining it to him, and then I noticed the Middle Eastern man was kind of like, he was kind of impressed, like, oh, he's gonna educate him. Now he didn't fully get it, so his takeaway was, okay, so you just bought this to make some cheap stuff taste better. And I was like, I didn't have time to go and I just left it as that. I was like, I guess something like that.
And it made ponder on him too.
But the thing is, kind of tell the fact that I even took time to converse with him if I'm not mistaken, he created a black mall in the middle of not Compton, because he was from Crenshaw.
He was from Crenshaw.
He's from Crenshaw, and he created a black mall which opened up jobs, gave people a sense of purpose, gave people a sense of pride, because this is ours. And even in Atlanta, they had little 5 points. I was telling you about that. Now it's still got maybe a little commercial, but it's still the same thing. It's a black mall. It's a black mall. Yeah.
It's, it's a lot of times if you are a true business person and an investor and all that stuff, that's what you want to do.
You have to please the investors. You want to
please the investors and all that stuff.
And I think you can still do that and maintain integrity. I think you can do that.
What it was for. Man, like I said, man, hot topic of the day, man. We didn't deep indulge into the high abortion rate and the African Americans as far as being in the prison systems, but that goes along with what the first.
I think it affects everything.
It affects everything. The lack of family structure, right? There's a lot of black men in prisons, right? I think the percentage is between 65% to 70%, and we only make up 13%, 14% of the population in America, which is ridiculous. But there's so much that we can unravel into that and why and everything. We don't have all day. We would love to have all day, but we definitely gonna keep this moving. I hope you guys learned something from that lack of family structure, the dangerous cities of African Americans population. I think it's like Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, cities of that nature. Abortion rates, the victim mindset. African Americans make a sizable portion of prisoners, which is unfortunate. We have to change that. So not only because it's Black History Month, just because it will benefit us as a whole. Hey, get out there and make a change in your area, in your community. Don't believe any of the things that you do is just minute. Whatever it is that you can do to help and assist, it helps push us to a better place. It helps push us, getting that goal of being united, families being together, more Blacks being educated, giving them generational wealth. All that stuff is all in that circle. So let's do a better job. Hey, it's Black History Month. Go out there and learn some, educate yourself. All right, we're gonna move on, right? Oh man, let's go ahead and change that. We're not doing that today. All right. Man, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Black History fact.
Right, what we got here?
Black History Month. If you don't know why Black History Month was brought up or how, let me see. I'm gonna bring it up. That'll be right cool. We're gonna talk about it right now. Hold on. Get to it. Black History Month, right? We already know Black History Month. It honors the contributions of African Americans to U.S. history, right? Among the prominent figures, right? Prominent figures like Madam C.J. Walker, who was the first U.S. woman to become a self-made millionaire, George Washington Carver, who was derived nearly 300 products from the peanut. Rosa Parks, who sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and galvanized the civil rights movement, and Shirley Chisholm, who was the first African American woman elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. All right, so we already know about that. Black History Month. All right, understand this is a celebration, right? That began actually just for a week. It was a celebration for a week. It was called Negro History Week, right? So they only gave us, I ain't gonna say day. All right, we only got a week, which was created in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson, right? A noted African-American historian, scholar, educator, and publisher, right? It became a month-long celebration in 1976. So truthfully, Black History Month is only 47 years old. It's only 47 years old. The month of February was chosen, right? Contrary of, the only reason why we got February because it's the shortest month of the year. That's not true. The reason why Black History Month is in February, right? It was chosen to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln.
Well.
that's the reason why. Because Abraham Lincoln emancipated, blacks, but he really. That's another story. Oh man, it's another story. But all right, so understand that the NCAACP, all right, they spurred by growing. It was like racial violence in the early 20th century, all right, and particularly in 1908, race riots in Springfield, Illinois. A group of African Americans leaders joined together to form a new permanent civil rights organization, which was the what? NCAACP, which is National Association for Advancement of Colored People. If you don't know that, to what NCAAP stands for, February 12th, 1909, it was created. It was chosen because it was the centennial anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. Now, I want to deep dive into that because now it was created based off of on the date, and it was when it was created based off of Abraham Lincoln. Which I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna say it. I don't believe no president back then, and I'm going off the ledge maybe, were for black people in that way. I believe they had some type of environmental racism. Never heard of that, huh? Just made something up, I'm gonna be honest. Meaning you are a product of the environment that you are surrounded around, right? So the men that was in these places pretty much was not like for black people. They may have been for maybe equal type of human rights, maybe, but like to be like really for black people of that nature, I don't believe so.
I got you. No,
go ahead.
No, I get what you're saying. I think basically in a nutshell, it's like the difference between saying like just because a white man marries a black woman doesn't mean that the entire black race became his priority. It just means that he liked the black woman. So yeah, I think I so kind of how that turns to the Abraham Lincoln. And I think you may be right. Like, do I think he was like overtly racist or even partially? I don't think so. But there is a hot chance that maybe that just came along. That advancement came with the politics.
Yeah, the advancement. From what I read and the knowledge that I have, it absolutely.
I actually haven't deep dived into it, so
I have.
I don't know.
It was the agenda because he wanted to unite the union. And if he could have did it without emancipating black people and freeing them from slavery, he would have went that route.
Gotcha.
It was more beneficial for him to do so because what happened with the blacks the first time, or actually truthfully the second time, we fought in an American war on the Union side. It was beneficial for him to be able to free the slaves because guess what? If you fight with us, guess what? In fighting with us, you would also get your freedom from slavery, right? Which they didn't have a plan after they freed all the black people because after what they did, they just stayed on the plantation because they didn't have nowhere to go. They had no education. They didn't have nothing. Only thing that they had from family generations, or the only thing that they knew was they slave masters' plantation. So that's how they started to work the land. And the slave masters was like, okay, well, you can stay here and you work my land, and they got basically paid for pennies. They gave them pennies. And then we're going to the sharecropping age, right? But again, there's a lot of stuff to deep dive into. That's the origin of Black History Month. It was not originated because it was the shortest month of the year, and they gave us, Black History Month. So it was originated to be Negro Week, and it morphed into being a whole month to celebrate our Black history, our heritage. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the question of the day.
Bam.
The question of the day. All right, I don't even got it up here, right? But the question of the day. Oh, shoot. I got it in my phone. Hold on right quick. All right. How does growing up in a one-parent household shape romantic relationships? All right. Y'all hear that? How does growing up in a one-parent home shape romantic relationships? You guys want to take a deep dive in it, or you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first. You go first on this one.
So this is how I think it shapes. Growing up in a one-parent home shapes your romantic relationship. Whether it's a male, whether it's you growing up with your father or your mother, right? When you don't have either in the house, whether it's the man or the woman, and you're a young boy or you're a young girl, you don't get to see the interaction of that man with your mother, or that your father with your mother, or that mother or that woman with your father. Like if you are a woman, a young woman, right? You don't know, and I think I talked about this in my last podcast. I think it was on Friday or Thursday, about the lack of fathers in the home and women, the daddy issues that becomes, or the lack of seeing a man treat a woman good in a good way. So that young girl may not get to see how a man should be treating a woman. So therefore they don't know how they should be treated. So when they go out and they start to date, they accept things that they shouldn't probably be accepting. They accept being talked down to. They accept being belittled. They accept being maybe abused or being thought less than. Especially if they get with a toxic individual or a toxic man that doesn't know how to what? Treat a woman, because that man came from a single mother family and his mom raised him and everything, and he didn't get a chance to see a man or a father treat his mother like she should be treated, as respected, as a queen, as an equal. All right, so that's one reason, and that's one way I think that's how it is. It affects both parties when there's a one-parent home, and you don't get to see. There's no image of that father, that husband. Like a lot of guys that come from a mother, even though the mothers have done a great job to the best of their ability of raising great young men, right? But they have daddy issues because they don't know how to be a man. Amen. They don't know how to be a husband. Yeah. And as much as women, as much as they do, what you cannot or what you can't do is teach a boy, because you don't know what it's like to walk into a man's shoes. So same thing as a man. I'm a single father. I had two girls that I raised. They're older now. I'm not a woman. I don't know. I can do the best thing that I possibly can do is teach them, and from what I know and what I think a woman should be doing and how they should be acting and everything based off of what I've seen my mother portray in the household. But I'm not a woman, so I can't understand totally everything that they're going through. And the same thing with a father, or a mother not being there for a young boy. So they don't see the interactions, and they don't see maybe a loving interaction. And then 9 times out of 10, if they are single and they having relationships with the outside man that's not the father, all the time the relationships are not good. They could be very toxic and abusive. So that's my take on it. What you think?
So how
we gonna come with the philosophical?
So we're talking about, for those of you who just tuned in, how does being a single parent affect romantic relationships, right? So now with this, I can only really speak from the outside of it, but I can tell you what I saw. And, but way before I got married, 2 of my girlfriends that I had at the time were mothers. And they had children. And what I will tell you is that so for one of the women that I, was involved with, there were a lot of boundaries that had to get set up. And what I mean by that is that obviously, you might want to turn it up. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. There were a lot of there were some boundaries that had to be set up because obviously I wasn't her child's father. So, and it basically, when it say boundaries, it just meant that, hey, here's this child. I would come by and, we'd hang out, but I I didn't actually have a lot of interaction with the child.
Yeah, you're right.
And I also, the child usually wasn't around much when I would come around. And it was because it was like, she was just, and I kind of noticed it. And it was kind of, she was just kind of, and at first I was like, well, you know, why? And it was like, well, until I know what this is, like I don't want my, you know, my daughter to get used to you, attached, you know. So it was a lot of, you know, a lot of boundaries. It was boundaries put up there, and then I respected it once she explained that to me. It was kind of, I was like, wow. So what I could tell from the outside in is that she made sure that she had to establish these places of distance and separation between her and her child and whoever she was, you know, dating at the time. And so it almost was like there was this life that she had that I knew nothing about, this mother life. Wow. You know what I mean? And that was what
I've experienced that before.
Yeah. So you had that. Now, vice versa, the second lady that I was involved with, she had 2 children. Now that was very interesting because this shows a little bit of where I came from, because one of her baby, the fathers of her child, so she had obviously 2 different baby fathers. I ain't gonna say, let me not say obviously, but you know, she had 2 different baby fathers, and one of them was a gang member from another gang, and the other one was a gang member from another gang.
Man, you out of that situation.
And so one baby wearing one color, and the other one would always wear another color.
Crazy.
I don't know. So right, and so like, and she had. So I know this is a real harsh example, but then she, you know, or brash maybe, I don't know, but then so she had to make sure that one came and the other one wasn't coming.
One day,
so it doesn't be like a gang war right there, you know. But then too, how did that affect me and her relationship was that I always had to be in a situation where it's like I'm the one she's with, they're the baby fathers. I had to learn our relationship, but my relationship with her became my relationship with her and 2 other guys because it was like I had to get to know these dudes because they were around, they came by quite a bit. And they had to get to know me because I was around their children quite a bit. So it affected the relationship a lot because I would be like, now, you know, we might want to go do something and then bring, you know, Jamal calls. And I'm like, oh, well, what does he want? But then I have to save my, you know, expectations because it's like, well, his children are here. If he has a question, he has the right to call. So how does it, I would just say, if the question is, does it affect it? Yes, it affects relationships massively. How? Well, you've seen, I mean, there's so many, because it introduces a lot of dynamics to to a relationship that's supposed to be between 2 people. Yeah. That opens up a wide gate.
You know what? I like the way the avenue of your direction that you took. You know, understanding that a 1-parent home, it does affect romance because now
big time.
We haven't talked, and I didn't talk about it. The father or the mother or the other parent that may be involved in the child's life, that definitely would affect the romance,
right?
And everything, and how interactive is the other parent, or how toxic could they be to the relationship?
Yeah,
you know, or are they? Most likely, we're pretty much talking about the father, the man. You know, is he always around? Does he still want to be involved in the woman's or the mother's, you know, life? Still want to be a part of, meaning be with her. So you have to deal with that. I've never had to deal with that. Even though I was married to a woman with 2 kids and had a blended family, and she had 2 different fathers, 2 different baby fathers. Fortunately for me, I didn't have to deal with that because they, unfortunately for her children, they wasn't involved in their life. I met Hey, how are you? I'm doing good, Sonia. I met one of the fathers one time at McDonald's, and for him to see his child, and I just let him. I just kind of reminded him that I would not be interfering with him being a father,
right?
And I know that his kid, but because I'm married to his mother and I do care for him, I will treat him as my son, and take care of him as such, and everything. But it would never come in between him. His ability of being a father. But
good point.
He came in between himself because he just didn't show up. He just didn't come around.
Unfortunately.
So it made it a little easier for me to actually be more of an effect on the child's life, and same and vice versa with the other child. So I didn't really necessarily have to deal with saying the outside interference of I don't say interference, the other parent.
Yeah.
So because he's not interfering with his child as long as he positive, doing things positively.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I think it's so many different effects of being a one parent, and when you bringing in romance and trying to have a relationship as being a single parent. Also, I've been a single parent trying to date, and I know the effects of it. What he said about his first story about not meeting the child, I've done that. You're not meeting my kids until I know that this is something that it's solid, and because I didn't want to continue to keep introducing my kids to different women. I don't think that would look good on me. And then especially when I had daughters and I had a son, and they're like, "Dang, Dad, you just got different women coming in and out of the house or in our lives." So I tried to the best of my ability. I didn't introduce my kids to someone until I knew that it would be something serious and something that was going to be long term. And honestly, it was moving towards marriage. That was just how I handled it. They didn't come to my house just to stop by at all, and they did the same thing with me. My ex-wife. It was probably about a couple months before I actually met the children and everything, and I was okay with that. I would have my radars would be up if I met a woman and she wanted right off the bat I'm meeting the kids and she telling me to come to the house and the kids are right there. I was like, man, shoot, I wonder how many. What number am I?
what number?
So hey, mama, we gotta do daddy. What I'm saying? So I didn't want to meet them until I knew that it would be long term also. So I understood that because I was a single parent too. So hey, that's it for the question of the day, man. And I hope you guys, it made you think, it made you stir up things in your mind, and probably maybe kind of put things in perspective. So if you're in that situation, you maybe you would handle things a lot better. If you're that person that you are allowing your kids to meet anybody and everybody, maybe it would slow you down. And you would think about, the people that you introduce to your kids and that you bring around your kids and everything. So again, that's the question of the day, man. We've been on here for a while. We've been deep diving into a lot of different topics, a lot of different information, and just learning from each other. Like I said, man, we real talking here. We being honest, open with our opinions and our views and our thoughts. And we're gonna go ahead and move on, and we're gonna close this out. All right, real talk with your boy MRK Coffee in the Morning with James Dale Merchant. This is what we do. I need y'all to tune in each and every morning, Monday through Fridays, 10:30 to 11:30 with your boy Martez Raphael Kirkland, man. Go make sure y'all just hit that subscription button. Make sure that you guys click that like button. Check me out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Hey, I'm almost to 1,000 subscriptions. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure y'all subscribe, man. Hey, this is Monday morning, man. It's your boy Martez Raphael Kirkland. Hey, real talk with MRK Coffee in the Morning. Y'all take care. See y'all later, man. I'm out. TikTok, we still here?